everyone! Today I wanted to spend a little time talking about how to count eighth notes. So I thought that the best way to do this, because music is very visual, was to make some manipulatives, which are things that we can move around with our hands to really show you how these eighth notes work. So I'm going to show you what I did. Let's turn my camera around here. I've made a measure of music. So you can see I've got my treble clef we talked about last week, our time signature that we also talked about, and you can tell this is one measure because here's my measure line, okay? So from the beginning to there is one measure. So let's start with stuff we already know. If I wanted to fill up one measure in 4/4, I could use a whole note, right? Because a whole note gets 4 beats. All right, if I wanted to fill up my measure using half notes, I would use 2 half notes because we hold half notes for 2 beats each, right? 2 plus 2 is 4. It's equaling our top number. Also, look, these half notes fit into your whole note. 2 half notes equal the same amount as 1 whole note. So I used my daughter's blocks to represent that. If I wanted to fill this measure up with quarter notes, 2, 3, 4, because each quarter note gets 1 beat, right? And if we were counting this, we would count 1, 2, 3, 4. When we get to the new measure, we start counting with 1 again. And just like our half notes into our whole note, you can see our quarter notes fit into our half note, like so. 4, cut it in half, 2 each. Cut those in half, they each get 1. Okay, so our next smallest amount is the eighth notes. So just like we've been splitting those other ones, you would take a quarter note, and split it into 2. It takes up the same amount as a quarter note, but now you have 2 sounds. You guys have probably seen them like this, right? Seen them hooked together. If they're not hooked together, they have a little tail, okay? If they're by themselves, they'll have a tail. They're called eighth notes because guess what? It takes 8 of them to equal the same amount as a whole note, okay? And the way we would count these, I'm going to turn them over. The way we would count these would be 1 and, 2 and, 3 and 4. And now you can also see them upside down sometimes like this. Doesn't matter. So if I was going to fill up my measure with eighth notes, I would count it like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So when we're counting with eighth notes, you got to figure out which beat do they belong to. Are they taking up beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, or beat 4? And you say the number of that beat, and then for the second eighth note, you say the word and. So you've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Some of the next things I want to do is to clap some rhythms with eighth notes. So my challenge for you is to see if you can find a way, something around your house. It doesn't have to be blocks. You don't have to write on anything, but see if there's some way that you can represent this note pyramid. That's what we call this, a note pyramid. So you'll have something that's largest, hopefully somewhere equaling, 4 to represent our whole note, that you can split in half to show me your half notes, split the half notes in half to show me quarter notes, and split a quarter note in half to show me the eighth notes. Okay? All right. Good luck. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with.